Hi, today we are going to do the fence flap quilted purse with fabric and not vinyl. There are a few changes, so here we go. I have my stabilizer hooped and I'm going to send it over to the machine. Okay, it's did the placement stitch, the outline of the flap itself, and the placement stitch for the batting. Unlike the one with vinyl, this whole inside gets covered with batting. Okay, now I'll tack it down. Okay, it's tacked down my batting and I trimmed it. And now I am going to cover my whole flap, the complete flap, with my fabric. Okay, now it's going to go tack it down. Okay, it's tacked down my fabric and it's did the placement stitch for my center bit of fabric. Okay. Now, when you do your fabric here, you make sure you have a 1/2 inch overhang on all the sides, and the bottom here. Okay, and now I'm going to cover this up with my center fabric, and I'm going to try to make it straight, and I'm going to go tack it down. Okay, it's tacked it down. Now I'm going to go and I'm going to trim it as to the close to the stitch, and it's going to do the fence-like quilt stitch and the satin stitch around the edge of this. Okay, so as soon as I'm done trimming this, I'll send it back over to the machine. Okay, it's did the quilt stitching and it's also did the outline satin stitch. Now, just as a reminder, I didn't do it and I should have. Depending on your fabric, when you put it down for your applique, you may want to use heat and bond. If you look at mine at the bottom, it's looking pretty thin there. Had I used heat and bond, is it called heat and bond? Bond and heat? It might not fray. Hopefully it won't fray, but for video purposes it'll do. Okay, so now we are going to take the fabric that'll be on the other side of our flap, and we're going to put it over top of this and then send it over the machine to stitch it down. Now, if you want a little thicker flap, you can add another piece of batting right here. Okay, and then it'll stitch it all down, and then you'll trim this a little closer before you turn your flap right side out. Okay, be right back. Okay, as you can see, I didn't center this very well. Now I'm going to trim my batting now before I take it out of this hoop, because once it's out, it's not quite as easy to trim. So I'll just trim it here, like so. There we go. Pop this out of the hoop. Now I will trim my sides, about, 1/4 inch or so. Okay, and I'll trim my bottom. And I will make my little cuts there. Okay, now we're going to turn it right side out through there. Okay. Stuff it all around like this. Poke out the corners. Okay, you can iron it so it's nice and flat. Oh, look at how pretty that is. Okay, now I will start the base. Okay, with my flap all flipped around, I added my magnetic closure. I'm new to these. It poke it through and then put this little metal thing on it and bend the tabs over. I've never used them before. Bought them off of Amazon. So now for the base, I've hooped my stabilizer and I've went ahead and stitched the tack down or the placement stitch for the zipper. Okay, so I have my zipper. I am going to tape it in place right here. Make sure it's straight and centered. Tape it down. And now I'll go over to the machine and tack it down. Okay, it's tacked down my zipper, and it's also did a placement stitch for the batting for the bottom and the top. Now I just put one piece of batting on, and then I'll just trim it in the middle. Okay, be right back. Okay, I started trimming before I turned the camera on, but it tacked down all of my batting, and now I am just going to go around and trim it all up, okay? You want to trim all the batting around the edge, you know, close to the stitch, okay? And then be right back. Just a little note here, when you're coming up the side, make sure you don't go under there and cut your zipper too. Okay, just pay attention. And same down here. You don't want to cut your zipper, so make sure you lift your batting up. Okay, now my batting's all trimmed. It's going to do a placement stitch for my fabric. Okay, it's did a placement stitch right here. So this is going to be the bottom part of your bag fabric. You are going to turn it upside down. If it's directional, make sure you have it like this before you flip it. I'm going to line it right up to the bottom of my zipper. And I am going to tape it here. And I am going to tape it here. And I'm going to make sure my wording's straight. And I'm going to go tack it down. Okay, let's tack this down. Now I'm going to fold it down. And I'm going to make it nice and neat right here, and I'm just going to throw these two pieces of tape right here on the side, and it's going to go tack it down, and it's going to do the stitching on the front of the bag. Okay, be right back. Okay, it's did my fence quilt stitch, and now it's did the placement stitch for my top part of my bag. And you will put your fabric down like this. If you have directional, make sure when you flip it up, it is facing the correct way. So I'm going to put this and line it right up with the top of the zipper there. I'm going to steal the tape from down here. Well, I was going to try and tape it. And then I'll stitch it down. Okay, it's tacked my fabric down. And now I'm going to lift it and press it nice and neat right there and tape it down. And it is going to do this stitch up there. Okay, be right back. Okay, it's did my stitch up there. I'm going to unzip the zipper just a little bit, and before I put the back lining on. Make a little hole. Then I'm going to turn this over, and I am going to trim out, cut my batting out. I use the other scissors though, so I don't cut my zipper. If I can handle it. I love my member of my group that told me to do this. Huh. Makes life so much easier. Look at that. How easy is that? Huh? Okay. Now that's all. I'm going to close my zipper again so I don't forget. Now, I'm going to turn my hoop over, and I'm going to take my lining with my 1/2 inch folded under edge, and I'm going to go right above my stabilizer, right at that cut, just above it, right like that. Tape this in place and go tack it down. I like to tape it down at the bottom here too, to the actual hoop, so it doesn't get caught in when it's moving around. Be right back. Okay, it's tacked it down. I'm going to turn it over. You can see it's tacked it down. Now I'm going to take my top lining and I'm going to line it up right to that edge, just like I did the other ones. Tape it in place and go stitch that down. Okay, it's tacked down my lining on the top, and it did my little placement tabs right here for my flap. And now I will take my flap and I will center it in between these two, and I want to make sure the top of this is outside the edge. You may want to cut it if you don't have enough room up there, so you're certain. And before I forget to tell you one more time, make sure you have your snap on it. So, all right, here we go again. Let me center this and make sure my bottom's straight. I'm going to leave it like that, I think. And go tack it down. You might want to tape it though, okay? Okay, it's did my flap down. I just opened my zipper because I need it open so I don't forget. Now it did the placement stitches for my handle tabs. So I am going to put those there and tape them down. Okay, whoops. Come on, tape. I need to get some masking tape, I think. Might work a little better than the Scotch tape. Okay, and now put this one over here. The same distance from the edge. Tape my bottom. Then I'll send it back over to the machine to tack it down. Okay? Be right back. Okay, it's stitch those down. I'm going to cut my excess tabs off right here. Okay, so now if you want a pocket is when you would put it on now. You would put it there. Okay, I have my pocket, my fabric for my pocket right here. And I am going to put batting inside my pocket, okay? Now real quick, I'm going to go over to the sewing machine and I'm going to run a stitch across the top of this. Okay, I've stitched this across. Now mind you, 1, you don't need a pocket. 2, you don't have to have batting in your pocket if you don't want. So I'm going to put my pocket down. I'm going to line it up with the top of my zipper like so, and then I am going to take my back fabric and I am going to cover, make sure it's facing the right way. I'm going to cover all of this. Now if you didn't put batting in your pocket, you could put batting on top of here also. Now I have it in my pocket, so I'm not going to put it there. So there we go, we got it all like this. And I'm going to send it over to the machine to stitch it all down. Just a reminder why it does this stitch. Slow your machine speed down. Okay, I should have paid a little more attention to make sure this was straight. It's off a little bit, but luckily it's not going to show too much. So now we are going to turn our hoop over for the last time. And we are going to cover the back with our other piece of lining face down. Making sure make sure I put it the right way. And tape it down and send it over to the machine. Okay, that's it. There we go. Be right back. Okay, it's did all the tack down of the lining, so I'm going to remove all of the tape that I can find right now. my hoop. Remove it as well back here. I hate when I get it stuck in my fingers. It like freaks me out. Oh, I saw another one. Oh, there it is. Oh, I wound up. Okay, there we go. Oh, I can't get it off my finger. All right, pop it out of the hoop. Okay, as always, I'm going to trim it all except for the bottom right here. So we'll go around, trim all the edges. And like I've said a million times, I need to get some new scissors. It's going to be tough going through this because I have the tabs I made and the flap and the batting. I always worry about cutting my finger underneath. Ouch, that would hurt, wouldn't it? Okay, let's go around this curve right here. Okay, flip my linings back. Flip my linings back, cut under here. Usually my linings are a little bit longer. I don't know what happened there. Okay, now cut my angle there. Cut that off. Cut my angle there. Cut that off. Around my corner, around this corner. Okay, now we're going to turn it out right side out through this opening. So I'm going to just kind of poke my corners up there and do it gently so you don't rip your lining. I usually use the edge of the table, but I found when I do that, y'all can't see what I'm doing. So, just gonna flip it right side out. See, like that, you can't see all of it because, all right, cut it off. Put my hand up there and push the corners out. Down here at the bottom, push these corners out. Paintbrush, because that's what I use to make sure the corners are really pressed out. Okay, give me 1 second. Okay, I had to get my glue because I use glue even though I have tape. I still haven't managed to master the tape. My glue and my Wonder Clips. More glue down on this end. And I have a little dog being lippy. There we go. Usually why this is drying is when I trim out my zipper, but my member told me an easier way, so I don't have to do that anymore. So now I'm going to reach in here and I'm going to unzip my zipper the rest of the way, like so. And I'm going to begin the process of flipping it right side out. So I'll take my corners. It's a lot easier with fabric, I'm telling you, than vinyl. Totally different looks though, that's for sure. Okay, so go. Now, just let this set for a second. Okay, I've taken my Wonder Clips off. I'm going to turn this right side out. Okay, push my corners out. Use my handy dandy paintbrush to make sure my corners are all nice and neat. Zipper across there. Push this flap, and this is what it'll look like. I gotta put my other magnet inside, add some of that, and put a snap back here on the back. I'll be right back when it's all done. Okay, there we are. I have that. I have my magnet. So much nicer than the cam snaps. I can't believe it. I have my lining, and I have my zipper pull on it. I have my strap on it. I did not put a snap back there yet because I'm not sure what I want to put there. Okay. All right, there you go. Thank you.